Hey everyone, it's Random Noob, and here is my Flank Season 3 loadout guide and thoughts about flanks. Starting off with Androxus. Androxus got a few changes. I don't know how much they really impact his decks. There were a few cards that they added and changed around. One of those cards is this card right here, Featherweight. I tried this card out, not a big fan of it. Honestly, I'd rather just run Abyss Walker than it. You don't drift as much as you actually think you do. I thought you drifted a ton on Androxus, but when I was playing around with it, I honestly didn't get that much value out of this. 250 health every second sounds like a lot, but it's really not that much. If you're drifting in the middle of the fight in the air, you're gonna die. You're just a sitting duck. People are gonna hit shots on you. So I really didn't like that card. They did add this other card called Quick Draw, which increases your ammo count by 2. I honestly don't run this in my deck. The only time I run it in my deck is if I want to get rid of Heal After Nether Step. I think Heal After Nether Step's really good. So I personally don't run Quick Draw, but you could run a deck something like this. Sleight of Hand 2 with Quick Draw 3, definitely. But for me, my deck right now is this. Power of the Abyss 4, Abyss Walker 3, Elusive 4, Sleight of Hand 2, and Through the Warp 2. And the reason I run this at 2 is because they did nerf this card. It is now only 5% per level. It used to be 10%, but they did add some base Nether Step distance. So instead of having to run this, so running this at 2 points, you still get about the same value. If you go any more, you're getting a little less value. And Elusive is just a better card anyways. This movement speed is very, very good when you're drifting in the air. Very good when you're just on the ground moving around the map. 40% movement speed with no ICD. So every single time you dash, it is resetting this, which is very, very good. However, there is this one card that a lot of people have been running, Watchful. Honestly, I am not a big fan, but you can run it instead of Power of the Abyss if you think it's good. So for a Watchful deck, for me, it would basically be Watchful for... I would still run Abyss Walker personally. Elusive for Sleight of Hand to watch Through the Warp 2. I don't know. Poison 1999 absolutely destroyed me in a bunch of ranked games with this card. Maybe you guys could like it. I still think Power of the Abyss is just better. Against good players, you're not going to get eliminations as consistently. And Power of the Abyss gives you 80% reduction instead of 40%. The only ability I really care about getting reset is my dash. That's the most important thing. I get this is a little less consistent. You have to hit your reversal. You have to get attacked into if you're running Cursed Revolver, which, by the way, is insane. If you're not running Cursed Revolver, make sure you guys start running that. Very, very strong ability or talent. Godslayer is still good. I'd run basically the exact same deck if I was going to run Godslayer. It's pretty much exactly the same. But overall, Andro feels really good in this patch. I really like Andro. The deck really didn't change that much, but Andro feels great. Moving on to Buck. Buck, for the most part, really didn't get many changes. The only thing that changed to him, that's the main thing, was his net legendary got nerfed. But honestly, I wasn't running net at all. I know there are some net Buck players out there. I'm sorry for you guys, but I just didn't enjoy net as much as Bounce House or Bulk Up. I think they're both a little bit more fun. For Bulk Up, nothing changed, really. You can still run this exact same deck. It's still very good. And along with the cauterized nerfs, Bulk Up Buck is pretty good right now. I know he does do a good amount of damage close range. Like, Buck doesn't seem like he does a lot of damage, but if you can get in there, get in the thick of it, he does do quite a bit if you're hitting headshots and stuff like that as well. My Bulk Up deck didn't change at all. Rapid Sustain 4, Deep Breath 4, Vigor 1, Leg Day 1, and Reconstruction 5. Basic Bulk Up deck didn't change at all. You could drop this to 3 and add a point there. In terms of one-ofs, Vigor 1, Leg Day 1, by far the best. Really nothing else good here. Some people run Bully as a one-of. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I think Leg Day 1 is probably just the best. You could run Seismic Maeve or something like that, but we're just going to stick to Leg Day for now. Buck Bounce House did get a lot of changes, though. Bounce House is a lot different. Here's my current Bounce House deck. You can see there's a new card, Exhilarate. And now what it does is hitting at least one champion with Heroic Leap reduces its cooldown by 1 second per level with a 5-second internal cooldown. You could run that card at 5 points. You could run that card at 5 points, and you could run Seismic Wave at 5 points. I mean, you have to drop, this to 3, and that's 1. But there is a deck where you can run Accelerate at 5 and this, and get the exact same value out of Stomping Ground without having to take the risk of getting the Killing Blow, which is honestly the biggest issue with Buck. You have to get the Killing Blow. So, what I ended up doing is keeping Stomping Ground, but adding Accelerate to the deck, and I actually like it a lot. It feels really good. Basically, if you get a kill and hit your Accelerate, which you're going to want to hit with Bounce House Buck, you have a 0 cooldown, which alongside Momentum, you're getting 30% DR, getting in, and getting out again right away. You have to drop Leg Day to 2 points, but I actually think this is the ideal Bounce House deck. The problem is, I don't know how good Bounce House is in this meta. It's really hard to pick stuff off in this meta without an insane amount of damage. You can't just jump in and burst people down from 100% to 0 like you could with previous Bounce House, like you guys saw in some of my videos. You know what I'm saying? So, in terms of how good Bounce House is, I'm not sure. In terms of fun, it's still just as fun if you can get the kills, and I think Exhilarate fits in the deck well. In terms of one-ofs, you could run Bully as a one-of as well, or you could just run the standard one-of that a lot of people were running originally, which is just Seismic Wave. I think Exhilarate's just a little better, and I do think it's worth putting 2 points in. So there's the Bounce House Buck deck. Try it out, guys. Bounce House, still just as fun. It's pretty hard to kill people. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty hard to kill people, but when you do get that kill, it's so satisfying. It just is. It's just satisfying. Moving on to Evie. Evie really didn't get many changes. The main changes for her is Flicker got nerfed to 250 health at 5 points instead of 375. It's 25 health each level, which adds up to being about 125 HP on each blink. So if you're running Wormhole, that is 250 health on each blink uncauterized. That's quite a bit of health. But they did add a health card to Evie. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, this card, honestly not very good in my opinion. I don't think it's worth running. You have to give up 2 points in other stuff. So you're going to have to give up a point in Swift Witch. You're going to have to give up a point in Teleport Distance. Honestly, I'm running the same deck, but I haven't tried it out enough. I'm going to keep testing it out. I'm not exactly sure, but 30 points per level for a health card doesn't seem worth it to me. It's just, I wish it did 50 health or something. It might be a little too OP at that point. I understand that, but just at 30 health doesn't seem worth it. So I'm running my, basic deck. The staple cards of Flicker 5, Teleport 5, and Swift Witch 3, and Cantrip 1. They did buff Biting Cold to now give you an extra ammo. It gives 2 ammo after activating Ice Block. Definitely pretty solid. I'm running Biting Cold over Cantrip. The problem is I don't really like Ice Blocking for ammo. So in terms of a one-of, if I was going to run a different card, let's say like I was running, Rift Walk. I'm not going to run this. But if I was, and I only had room for 1 ammo card, I think Cantrip is probably still the better one. If I was going to run the health card, it would be something like this. And I'm going to have to test around with it. Maybe it's good, maybe not. Another deck I've been running, I got this, shout out to Nas, an Evie player. It's basically just a Snowglobe deck with crazy cooldown reduction. I definitely want to make a Snowglobe video using this deck soon. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But basically, it's just kill people with your Sora on cooldown, get your Sora off cooldown, kill someone else, your Sora instantly comes off cooldown again, Sora again, kill someone else, Sora again, kill someone else, Sora again, kill someone else, and that's the whole deck. Ult on them with Snow Globes over and over with 50% ult charge. Just crazy, by the way. I honestly don't think it's very good, but definitely fun. Definitely fun. So if you guys are looking for a Snow Globe Eevee deck, here you go. Flicker 3, Killing Frost 3. I like Impact 4. I like this like duo of it. Some people just run Killing Frost and run, Teleport Distance or something like that. I just think running the duo combo where you can get your Blink on a shorter CD as well, get your Ice Block on a shorter CD, feels good. I like it. And so I'm running Killing Frost 3 and Impact 4. You still get the 100% CD. Your CD is 100% off cooldown when you kill someone after soaring. You're going to want to run Swift Witch as a 4 or 5 pointer in this because your soar is your main movement ability. You don't have that advantage of Wormhole where you can blink back. Like, if you blink in and you have your soar off CD, so you can't soar, you're dead. You need to get a kill. So that's why your soar needs to be extremely fast. So if you do get that kill, you can get out as soon as possible. So you're really going to need to run Swift Witch and Cantrip 1. Overall, I don't know where Evie fits in this meta. I think she's still solid. I still think she's a Wormhole 1 trick, and I'm not sure if you're going to run this health card. Stay tuned. I'm not sure. You could just run a normal Evie deck without it and be just fine. I think this deck is still solid. Moving on to Koga. Koga actually got quite a few buffs. He got an increased health to 2,000 HP from 1,900. He definitely needed that. He did not have much health. He got some submachine gun reduced damage fall off as well as reduced weapon spread, so he's doing a little bit more damage as range in his submachine guns. His Dragon Stance also got buffed quite a bit, but no one's really worried about Dragon Stance right now. Everyone's talking about this card right here, Trigger Happy 5. And what it does is increase your healing received by 50% while fighting your SMGs. The whole build is this right here. Running Wind's Embrace at 5 points, and then everything else is kind of just fillers. Something to Prove is a really good one-of filler. I prefer Health, actually. Really, what this deck does is you get a pocket with a Geno, so you get a pocket with a Torvald. You're constantly shooting with Trigger Happy and Wanted, because you're regenerating ammo while Agility is active. Your Agility is constantly active. In terms of one-ofs, you could also run, you know, Raw Talent or Trespasser, both really good one-ofs. And you just heal like crazy. You constantly have 50% rejuve. You're healing yourself with Wind's Embrace. You're getting healed by a healer. You're getting pocketed, and you're just running around wreaking havoc. Like, this deck is just bonkers. I don't know if this makes Koga really good. I'm not convinced yet, but playing against some Kogas with this deck, it's almost impossible to kill them with certain things. If you don't have enough damage, if you don't have enough burst, tanks, pretty much impossible to kill a Koga. DPS can kill him. He does struggle very hard in DPS. That's why I'm not convinced this is that good. Just because the DPS in the meta right now do so much damage. They do so much damage that I think Koga really can't heal through that. It's not enough healing that it's going to be like insane. Like, it's only 150 health per second. That's not a ton. It is something, but it's not a ton. You could also change this deck a little bit. Like, if you didn't need this extra healing, if you're getting like Torv and Genos pocketed, you could run some more movement speed. Like Raw Talent, and maybe put more point in ammo or more point in Wanted. I don't know. I think the Wind's Embrace cards is probably better, and you're going to want to run it at 5 points. Memento did get changed. It used to be like something giving you ultimate charge. Now it gives you 10 ammo per level. Very good card. You're going to be wanting to run this card in a lot of your Koga decks. So this is just like a Adrenaline Junkie deck that a lot of people are enjoying, and it seems pretty solid. I'm not convinced that it's great, but it's definitely fun. With this deck, you're going to be wanting to buy Life Rip. Make sure you buy Life Rip. Honestly, your first or second. Maybe get Caught 2 first. Honestly, maybe just start with Life Rip and get Life Rip 2 and then go Caught. Life Rip along with Trigger Happy, very, very, very good. And with this deck, obviously, you're not going to be wanting to go into Fangs very much. Speaking, if you want like a Dragon Fangs build, I like this deck a lot. Not a lot of people think it's very good, but I think it's all right. Your DPS and Fangs, pretty solid. Swift Hands 3 with this deck in Dragon Fang. Some of you guys have seen my Koga videos. If you wanted to see it in action, go check out an old video. Basically, you're skewering people with guild tactics. If you hit someone with a skewer, you heal for 640 health. You have a lot of unused agility you can use for Tenacious. Just getting some heal after Shadow Step. Harsh Training 1 and Criminal Records is basically a standard card if you're going to run a Dragon Fangs build. You need that extra lifesteal because that energy is coming from your health pool. And you need that health to live. You know what I'm saying? You can't just like sacrifice all your HP and die. But honestly, I find this deck very fun. I think it's a little bit better than the Trigger Happy deck. Maybe not. Maybe after playing with the Trigger Happy deck, I'm coming to the conclusion it's probably better. But in terms of fun, I think this deck is more fun. I really am not a big fan of Koga's submachine guns. I think his claws are a little bit more fun, a little bit more skill in my opinion, which is kind of crazy. Just because they nerfed the hitbox on the left clicks in the Dragon Stance. It takes very, very precise aim at this point. And as well as Skewers. Skewers' hitbox is very small. You're going to have to hit perfectly if you're going to want to hit it. I personally just like the, Dragon Fangs, but definitely check out this build, guys. It's starting to take over ranked a little bit, and it seems pretty solid. Lex really didn't get many changes this patch. My deck's going to be the exact same. I'm going to be running Death Hastens. I see a lot of people running Discovery. I don't think it's very good. I still think Death Hastens is just more damage. And Discovery is kind of just 2 RNG, right? Like, you have to, it's only on your Retribution target, which just 2 RNG in my opinion. So I think I'm going to be keeping to Death Hastens. And basically the only card that's changing in this deck is Requip 2. It now generates 4 ammo for 2 points, which is insane. You basically you never have to reload. So for me, the deck basically the exact same as last patch. Juke Boots 5, the Hunted 3, getting that extra lifesteal against Retribution target, very good if you can hit it. Warrants 4, just increasing your movement speed after combat slide. Requip, just getting 4 ammo after each combat slide, which is just ridiculous, by the way. And my one-of Keen Sight, which just increases the range of your Retribution target. In terms of other one-ofs, if you want to run, honestly, not a big fan of any other of the one-ofs. You could do maybe Commencement 1. Wicked Don't Rest, a lot of people used to use in like a CC immunity build, but or is it not? It's not CC immunity. It's just damage immunity, right? Oh no, it is CC immunity in heroism. I don't think it's very good unless you run multiple points in it, which I don't like doing. So really, my one-ofs are Keen Sight and Commencement 1. So not much to talk about Lex there. Pretty much exactly the same. He does have like a DR card during In Pursuit. I don't think it's worth running. In Pursuit's is not very good. Besides that, not really much change. There is a cooldown reduction buff to In Pursuit, but like I said, still not worth running. So I'm just running a standard deck still on Lex. Moving on to Maeve. Maeve got a few changes that are affecting her deck. The main one that everyone's been talking about, everyone's really hyped about, Predation, is now a card that reduces the cooldown of Prowl by 0.2 seconds each level each time you hit a dagger. So that is 0.4 seconds if you hit both your daggers. Based on that wording, that's crazy. So each shot can reduce the cooldown of your Prowl by 1.6 seconds. And it does work on the first attacks after your Prowl if you're using like Cat Burglar or something like that. I still think Cat Burglar is her best deck with this Predation card. They did nerf, however, Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense used to be 25% at level 5 and is now 20%. Honestly, kind of a big deal. Like, if they just keep nerfing this card, eventually you're going to want to take it out of your deck. I still think at 20% it's still worth running alongside all of the other staple Maeve cards with Street Cred 3, Walk It Off 1, and Chase 2. Yeah, so the deck really didn't change that much. Basically, I had to drop health. So you have to drop some points to get more points from Predation. I think putting 5 points in is just too much of a sacrifice. You could do it if you want to, but I think 4 points is a nice little sweet spot there. And I still think getting as many points in health is very needed on Maeve, just because you have so little default health. You need this health card as much as possible. I actually like Walk It Off 2 and Chase 3, but because we're putting so many points in Predation, we cannot do that. If you don't think Predation's worth it, you could run just a normal deck with Pounce DR, Health, Chase, Walk It Off, and maybe just Predation as a one-of or something like that. I would run something like this if you didn't really like Predation that much. I'd still run it as a one-of. Very good. In terms of other one-ofs you could run, Shred 1, not bad. Maybe an increased healing on 9 lives. Maybe just 6% DR after 9 lives ends. Not bad as well. Even just reducing the cooldown on 9 lives. Literally, there's so many options. Featherlight 1, maybe even Street Runner 1. There's actually quite a bit of options for one-ofs for Maeve. I still think Predation, you're probably going to want to run it. And I'd put, like, if you're going to run this card, you're going to run it at least 3 points. So I would do something like that. And then that would be my deck that I just made. In terms of Street Justice, you can literally just run this exact same deck, and it would be just as good. I'd probably not run Predation in Street Justice. Prowl is not as good if you're going to run a Street Justice deck. So I'd probably run something like, you know, Shred 1 just to make sure it's up in time, and I'd run Walk It Off 2. And besides that, the deck would be similar to something like this if you're going to run Street Justice. This deck looks pretty solid to me. Besides that, that's pretty much it for Maeve. Moving on to Moji. Moji had just like some weird changes. Overall, her deck did change a little bit. There used to be a card that healed you for 100 health every time you got hit during your magic barrier. That has changed to a damage reduction card. I don't think it's very good. I'm not going to be running it in my current Moji deck. Instead of running that, I'm going to be running heal during magic barrier. Definitely not very great, but it's going to be a one-of. And I'm going to run Peppy 3. This is a card a lot of Mojis were running the last patch. I didn't think it was worth it over Harmonious last patch, but now that Harmonious is completely neutered, in my opinion, not very good, I'm going to be running Peppy 3 and Cozy as a one-of. This is not much healing, but alongside Symbiotic, it can be a decent amount if you're below 50% HP. Honestly, you can maybe even put an extra point in there and drop Greater Good by 1 if you wanted to. Honestly, I might try that out. Seems pretty good alongside Symbiotic. It would be 120 health per second, and Magic Barrier lasts 2 seconds, I believe, so it'd be like 240 health. With this, it would be, 120 health, but it's basically just a nice little one-of there. And Greater Good isn't the most consistent. Definitely very, very good card. You're going to be wanting to run this card at 4 or 5 points, though. Like, this is just like consistent healing. So if you're confident that you're going to get the healing off Greater Good, which heals you when you have maximum number of magic marks, definitely put 5 points in this over the 1 point in that. But Symbiotic 5, Greater Good 5, absolute staples in your Moji decks, guys. If you're playing Moji, you're going to be wanting to run these cards. Peppy 3, reduce the elims by 30%. Pretty much just a filler card a little bit. The rest of Moji's cards just seem kind of mad right now. They don't seem very good. Fluffy 1 and then Cozy 1 are my one-ofs. In terms of other one-ofs you could run, I think some people are running this Morning Breath. I don't know. It doesn't seem that bad. I kind of want to try it. You could maybe run like Magic Barriers CD or cooldown reduction on Scamper. Besides that, the other one-offs don't seem very good. So I'm pretty much just going Cozy 1. I don't know. Nature's Blessing might not be that bad either. Like if you can get maybe 2 or 3 points, it's, I don't know. Generate ultimate charge for each unmarked enemy to which you apply a magic mark. I don't know. It's not great, but maybe it's a one of. I don't know. I'm probably just gonna stick to Cozy. It doesn't seem that great. In terms of Moji talents, her talents got changed quite a bit in this patch. Snack Attack now only heals for 600, but your teammates can see it and they can now interact with it. I don't think it makes Snack Attack good. Does it make better than Toot? I don't know. It's Toot can apply to multiple people. It doesn't rely on an elimination. It relies on your dash, so it's more consistent. I still think you're going to run Toot. It does... Now, Toot now applies a healing as a single application instead of a persistent cloud. I don't know how much different that is. It feels pretty same as the Moji. I think it affects your teammates a little bit more. But as the Moji, it feels almost exactly the same. Boom Boom got nerfed. Already, people weren't really running Boom Boom, so I'm still not going to run it. So if I'm playing Moji right now, it's Toot with that deck. Besides that, her card changes don't really seem advantageous for her. Her other card's not very good. I think this deck is probably the deck you're going to be running on Moji. Sky got a pretty controversial change for a lot of people. Smoke and Daggers now benefits Sky herself because it benefits everyone who enters the smoke screen with the loadout cards you put on them. It also heals for an additional 200 every second to yourself and allies. This card, in my opinion, makes Sky kind of busted. I'm not going to say OP, but in certain situations, it seems like she's very, very strong. So here's the deck I've been running with it. It's Healing Vapors 5, which heals for 625 health over 2 seconds, basically like 312 health per second. And also gives you 24% movement speed for 3 seconds, and it constantly reapplies in your smoke screen. This stuff constantly reapplies to you. It doesn't stack, but it does just reset the duration, which if you're in it and then you leave, you still have healing for 2 seconds. You can still, go back into it and get healed up again at the end of that 2 seconds. So it kind of makes you like unsusceptible to know where the enemy team knows where you are, because you can go into that smoke screen and just run out immediately. If a Koga tries to hook you in it, he's going to be guessing you're in that smoke screen. Well, no, I'm over here still getting healed. And then as soon as I see that smoke, I can go back into it. Honestly, this deck is just very good. I did upload a video of it the other day if you guys wanted to check out some gameplay revolved around it. I added the Spectre 1 card. I honestly don't think it's very good. I would either go with the Crepify 1 or a Poisoner 1. I prefer Poisoner 1 just to reduce that cooldown of Poison Bolts so that we can use Confound to reduce the cooldown of our smoke screen by each Poison Bolt hit. And there's 3 Poison Bolts that shoot every time, so that reduces your cooldown if you hit all 3 to 2.5 seconds because it is a 10-second CD at base. Confound 5, extremely, extremely, extremely good with this deck. Definitely run this card at 5 points. And then another one of filler of just Emergency Exit. Just puts you in stealth if you get below 30% HP. Upping points in this is completely pointless. It just reduces the cooldown, which doesn't matter. So run that as a one of. 100% the best one of Sky. Like, if I was going to change a one of, it'd be Poisoner. Spectre, I don't know. Some people like it. Cuss Cutie liked it. He told me to run it. I'm not a big fan. In terms of other decks for Sky, honestly, people want to run a card like Victory Rush, but Victory Rush just got nerfed, and I don't think it's actually that good anymore. It's basically like Rampage now, and what made it so good was that it lasted for 8 seconds. So, honestly, I don't think Victory Rush is going to find it in my deck. I think if I was going to run a Debilitate style deck, it'd be something like this, with Poisoner 5, Confound 3, because Smokescreen is still very good, even without Smoke and Dagger's Legendary. Like, you still makes you extremely mobile with Dissipate and stuff like that, increasing your movement speed. And I just find it pretty solid ability, even in Debilitate Sky. And for Debilitate Sky, you're going to be wanting to run Decrepify. It causes you to not consume ammo for 0.5 seconds after hitting an enemy with Poison Bolts. Basically, you can just left-click nonstop. This card is very, very, very good in Poison Bolts. Honestly, it was to a point where I was considering, instead of running Poisoner, just running Decrepify as a one-of to get like an extra, half second to a second possibly of no ammo, because your first poison bullet goes out a little bit before your third one. So it does actually give you a little bit extra time on that if you hit all three. But I ended up going with Poisoner just to make the confound more consistent for Smoke and Daggers. But yeah, that's my Sky Decks. Sky Deck's definitely interesting. Not really much changed in this patch besides the Smoke and Daggers adding healing vapors to your deck. But overall, Sky this patch with the Smoke and Daggers change, a lot changed about her. So make sure you guys try her out. I think she's a little OP. Some other people don't think she's as good, but I think she's pretty strong in the right situation. Maybe she's counterable with like some type of reveal builds and stuff like that, but overall she seems pretty solid in the first few days of ranked from what I've been playing. Moving on to Talus, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I really don't know much about Talus. He's honestly my least played character in the game. I'm not a big fan of him. Sorry for you Talus mates out there. He's just not my cup of tea. Maybe you Talus mates out there know better than me. But if I was going to make a Talus deck, I would run Inner Strength. Inner Strength seems pretty good. I think most Taluses are running Inner Strength. I don't know for sure, like I said. Faustian Bargain could possibly use as well. And Nothing Personal seems solid on paper, but honestly, I think Inner Strength, just resetting your cooldowns after using your Rune of Travel, seems pretty good. And here's the deck that I researched a little bit, that I saw Mutu running it a little bit. It seemed pretty good. Basically, there's a new card called Spirited, which increases your maximum health by 50 health per level. That card seems pretty solid, so I'm running that in my Talus deck. Also, Guts, it got nerfed a bit, but it's still good, in my opinion. I think running it at 4 points is very good. Evanescent, just a card during your Rune of Travel. While it's active, you get movement speed, very good. You're pretty much going to want to run that in every Talus deck. And then Primeval Might, getting lifesteal while Overcharge is active, another staple in Talus. And then Eternal is just a one-of. In terms of other one-ofs, they made this newer card, Relic Affinity. I don't know, maybe you should run. I don't know enough about Talus, guys. I don't. But if I was going to do a one-of, it doesn't seem that bad. I know the knockback on Talus is super inconsistent. Honestly, besides that, I really don't know any other good one-ofs. Antediluvian doesn't seem terrible. I don't know, Revitalize, maybe. But I think, Transient, just probably the best one of. Just reduce the cooldown of your Rune of Travel. And overall, if I was going to run a Talus deck in this patch, this is what it would be. Like I said, Talus mains out there, maybe you can, direct other Talus players the correct way. But if I was going to do a Talus build, that's what I would do. And last but not least, Mr. Zinn. So for me, Zinn this patch, Yomi got completely changed. And what Yomi does now is it only increases 150 damage on your heavy hit. So Yomi is basically dead. Never picked this talent. Now, what they did was they added that heavy hit that pierces on Yomi. That's what it used to do. They now added that to Zinn's default kit. So you can run Guillotine or Smolder, and it's extremely good. For me, against pretty much every double tank comp or more, or even a single tank potentially, Guillotine, very, 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 very good. But Smolder, if you wanted to run like a tank Zinn style deck, or you're playing in a triple DPS and you wanted like a little bit extra mobility or survivability, sorry, not mobility, Smolder, definitely very good. I honestly like Smolder a lot. I like Guillotine a lot as well, but it just depends on the situation, really. It's hard to tell in a short video when to use exactly each. But for me, I think Guillotine, you're pretty much safe running it almost every game. So just run Guillotine. But if it is like a triple DPS comp, you really don't need your ultimate to deal 25% of a target's maximum health. Run Smolder. Definitely very good. If I was going to run Guillotine, I'm most likely going to run this deck. This is my main deck. A lot of people are asking me, like, would I run Viciousness in a non-tank deck with not running it at 5 points? No, I wouldn't. The cooldown on counter is already very short, and I would only run it if I'm going to run like a tank-style Zen deck. I did make a video on this as well, so make sure you guys check out that. But in terms of my default Zen deck that you're going to want to run a majority of the time, it is this right here. Hideout 4, Footwork 3, Blade Dancer 3, Infamy 3, and Kindling 2. And basically the crux of this deck is you have quite a bit of whirl distance. While every time you whirl, you get 2 ammo. And after you whirl, Billowing reduces the cooldown of your whirl by 4 seconds, which allows you to whirl pretty much exactly again. You're going to have like a 1 or 2 second window there, but you can use counter, or you could use you know, you could just like be behind a wall for a few seconds to get your whirl back up instantly. So you can pretty much do whirl billow whirl or whirl billow counter whirl, an all one slick combo while getting 4 ammo back with kindling 2. This card is actually absolutely bonkers. I love this card. I used to run up in smoke as a one of, but after trying kindling, it's actually just insane with this deck. It feels really, really good. Like, you guys should definitely try throwing that in your deck. In terms of other one-ofs, honestly, you could run, like, Dragon Oil. Besides that, I really don't like the other one-ofs. You can maybe run, like, Fan the Flames or something in your deck if you think getting a killing blow is consistent enough for you. Something like that. Or, you know, maybe reduce a Blade Dancer. And that would be cool with this deck. In, like, a Smolder deck or something like that. But for me, I honestly just removed Fan the Flames from my deck, and I didn't really have an issue with it. Like, I didn't really miss it at all. Kindling 2 feels really good. So that's what I ended up with my deck for just a standard Zen deck. You can run this with Smolder. You can run this with Guillotine. Like I said, if you want to throw Fan the Flames in, I would only run that with a Smolder build. I would not run this with a Guillotine build. Actually, I don't know. With Guillotine, it might be that good because you get that consistent kill, right? So, I don't know. Maybe Guillotine, you could work with it. So yeah, Fan the Flames, definitely like play around with it for you guys. For me, I'm not gonna use it. Here is my tank Zen deck though. This deck, you run with Smolder and you can play kind of as a tank. You know, you could be like an off tank Zen a little bit. Like I said, I did make a video for this. If you guys wanted to check it out, go check out one of my previous videos. This feels really good and it's just really fun. So what this card is right here is Viciousness 5. It's a new card in this patch, which reduces the cooldown of counter by 75% after successfully hitting an enemy with the counter. So your counter is on about a 1 second CD. If you buy Chronos, your counter is up instantly after hitting an enemy with it. Honestly, just really fun. Also, you heal for 300. Not quite retaliation, but almost retaliation. And it's just, honestly, just a good time. It's one of those decks I play, and I just enjoy playing it, you know? And like I said a few times in these videos, that at the end of the day, that's what this game's about. It's about making fun decks, trying it out, enjoying yourself, and just enjoying the game, right? I like Blade Dancer as my one-of for this deck. You could run, like, Dragon Oil. You could run, like, Fan the Flames. Basically the same type of stuff. Kindling 1, possibly. Maybe even Hideout as a one-of. Honestly, I might go with Hideout. Even though it's a one-of, it doesn't really do that much. It could save you, and a card that can save you every once in a while is worth putting in your deck. I don't think Blade Dancer 1 with the nerf, it used to be 10%, now it's 8%, is really going to do that much. So let's try out Hideout. We'll see how that goes. That looks like a pretty solid deck. And that's been it for my flank deck talk video, guys. I hope you guys got something out of it. There was quite a few decks. A lot of them didn't change really, but I mean, even if I can give you guys decks for those champions and you're like a newer player and you're looking for decks, I'm glad I made this. I hope this is what you guys wanted out of a deck talk video, and I hope you guys learned something. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please hit that button and hit the notification bell, and I will see you all in the next vid. Peace.